The following program paid for by Lifespan Wealth Management. Providing financial advice since 1993. It's time for Your Money with Sherry Goss, Randy Goss, and Jonathan Eisner. And now from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia, and thanks for tuning in to Your Money, produced by Lifespan Wealth Management. As financial advisors, the main thing we do is provide retirement planning advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. So if you're looking for an investment advisor, call our office at 478-922-8100 to set up your complimentary consultation.
Lifespan Wealth Management has offices in Macon and Warner Robins for your convenience and has been serving Middle Georgia for over 30 years. You can learn more about our services by visiting our website at retirerelax.com. And while you're on our site, go to the special reports section where you'll find several reports that are available to you for free. You can also sign up to receive our digital feeds, which are short videos providing great information relevant to retirement, investing, and matters that affect your money.
We also offer seminars to the community at no cost. So if you're in need of a guest speaker for your church or civic organization, give us a call and together we can decide what topics you would like us to present to your group. Again, our contact number is 478-922-8100.
And on to the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are
How
you?
y'all do? I'm doing fantastic.
Jonathan?
Doing great.
Yay.
Yes.
So Marco Rubio announced more cuts to government agencies. Doge reports on overall savings of $160 billion thus far. And Trump said that he will have a deal with China within 3 weeks and that tariffs on China's goods will be lower than previously mentioned.
I wonder what China has to say about that.
But all of this took some pressure off the markets. And Trump is backing down from doing anything against Chairman Powell, and that helped as well.
That was nice. All right. Consulting firms offer up a lot of cuts, like up to $20 billion from federal contracts. Booz Allen Hamilton, Guidehouse, and others are negotiating with General Service Administration as part of a broad review of government contracts. Consulting firms offered billions in cuts after the Trump administration demanded deeper price concessions. Firms, as part of the reviews, have proposed terminating contracts or reducing the scope of previously approved work, and some have offered credits or free AI services. But this was in round two. After round one, the GSA criticized initial proposals as insufficient, threatening contract terminations if savings weren't meaningful. Faulty reasoning, financial obfuscation, and gamesmanship within the consulting proposals were called out in a letter to executives earlier this month by the GSA procurement chief, who is overseeing the review of contractors. The chief wrote in his letter to the consulting firms that if they did not offer more meaningful cost savings, then contracts would be terminated and put up for new bids to competitors. That got their attention. And then several firms that really, they leaned in, and then when the GSA saw this, they were inspired in their second attempt.
Booz Allen, which generates nearly all of its $11 billion in annual revenue from contracts tied to the U.S. government, previously told the Wall Street Journal that the firm had proposed more than $1 billion in savings related to its own projects. The Trump administration has been cracking down on the consulting industry more broadly, with the Doge regularly announcing new cancellations of consulting contracts.
The Department of Defense earlier this month also said it planned to cut $5.1 billion in consulting contracts, impacting firms including Accenture, Deloitte, and Booz Allen. That's going to be interesting to see where that goes. All right. Watch out for this public charging station scam. This concerns charging stations for your mobile devices, not your vehicles. You need to avoid using free charging stations in airports, hotels, or shopping centers, according to the Denver FBI field office. Bad actors have figured out ways to use public USB ports to introduce malware and monitoring software onto devices. What the FBI is referring to is called juice jacking, a scam that preys upon cell phone users looking to juice up their devices by using public USB charging stations. While you are charging your phone, cybercriminals can either lock your phone or export personal data and passwords. As you can imagine, the financial damage done by such a scam can be devastating to your wallet because your cell phones unlock so much of your life, particularly are a direct link to so much of your finances. Crooks can victimize not only travelers, but all sorts of people in public places who are trying to do something as innocent as charging their cell phone. Here are some additional tips from the FCC. When traveling, carry your own charger and USB cables. Bring an external battery for your cell phone. You can buy a good battery on Amazon for less than $25. consider carrying a charging-only cable, which prevents data from sending or receiving while charging from a trusted supplier.
That's good advice. And did you know a low credit score can increase the cost of your car insurance? Drivers with a good credit score pay about $2,638 per year in premiums. Compare that to drivers with poor credit who pay about $4,644 a year. That's a difference of $2,006. And drivers with excellent credit scores save even more. Although there are a handful of states that prohibit auto insurers from using credit scores to help determine premiums, in most states that is the case. South Dakota drivers pay 148% more in annual premiums than in other states due to poor credit history. At 39%, North Carolina is the smallest premium based on credit scores. But there are a number of ways you can raise your credit score. Most important rules to follow is this: pay every bill on month on time. Using the national average from Bankrate.com, there are 3 items that could cause your insurance rates to climb by $100 by hundreds of dollars. The first is a speeding ticket, which is totally within your control to prevent. That single event could add as much as $656 to your annual bill. The second is an accident if it is your fault. That can add $1,136 to your annual bill, in addition to the cost of getting a new car. The third item is your credit score, which we covered at the beginning of this article. And if you were paying attention to the numbers, the low credit score could cost you more than the accident and the speeding ticket combined. And I looked it up. And in Georgia, drivers with poor credit scores pay 68% more for car insurance.
Yeah, I need to sit down with our newest driver. I've talked about him, Gabriel. Go over these statistics with him. He's obviously not been off to a great start thus far, so hopefully hearing this will help him exercise with a little bit of caution, a little bit more caution than he would otherwise.
Until you have to pay it yourself, though, it doesn't
I know.
really click in your brain. And everything is so different because of how people drive today. I mean, every time I'm on I-75, I'm just amazed that there are not more wrecks
I am
than
too.
there are.
Just on the way to work this morning, it looked like a NASCAR on 247. It was crazy.
Yep.
I don't understand it. So if you're trying to get ahead financially, consider rethinking your driving habits. Apparently, it has a significant impact on your credit score and ultimately your insurance premiums, which are through the roof. All right, next up, how about this for another bad idea? I came across an article this week that people are buying takeout from DoorDash. They are now able to be financed through Eat Now, Pay Later options, a practice that some experts deem predatory. This is insane. Make a sandwich. I mean,
Right.
Why would you make payments on lunch?
Right.
This is comical.
Talk about dirty jobs. Try repossessing that meal.
This is just a horrible idea. Talk to your kids and make sure they're not doing this.
This is terrible, though.
It's like throwing money out the window.
It's comical. If you can't afford one meal at one setting, in one sitting, you shouldn't be buying that meal anyway.
Yeah, then it's delivered to you at a markup.
And then you have a tip.
Yeah.
They probably aren't tipping.
You shouldn't be using DoorDash. You should get in your car and drive around the corner and pick up $8 Chinese or something.
Or go to Walmart.
Go to the grocery store, buy some fresh food, and cook it.
Right.
I
Well,
don't.
that's asking too much for people,
I know.
Randy.
It's just terrible.
I don't
I have such
understand.
high expectations.
I just don't understand any of it. We cook on the weekends, and that's what we eat all week. I mean, we cook what we eat, and I know what we're eating because I cook it.
Well, Sherry, you could be financing each meal.
Mm.
Just
I
so
know.
you know.
that,
You could be
that is
financing.
an option, I guess.
And it could be delivered to you. All right, don't be surprised to see a special line item on orders that some are calling "This Tariff Isn't Our Fault" fee. From bathroom fixture makers to toy shops, companies are starting to tack tariff surcharges onto invoices as a separate line item. Some are a $5 flat fee, while others represent as much as 40% of the subtotal. This tactic is a way to pass on at least some tariff costs to consumers, especially on Chinese-made goods, with levies totaling right now currently 145%, while passing the buck to President Trump. The chief executive of Jolie, which makes skin products and special shower heads, says they believe they should give Trump full credit for the cost from the tariffs. So in full transparency, they're adding a line on all invoices that will read Trump Liberation Tariff. I think that's a little sarcasm or tongue-in-cheek on their part, isn't it? U.S. businesses with suppliers in China have deployed an array of moves to navigate the escalating trade war, front-loading inventory before the tariffs took effect, pressuring suppliers to absorb cost increases. and raising retail prices on products with bigger margins. Jolie's shower products are made in China, and the tariffs have raised the company's costs substantially. Trump has said the new tariffs will spur more manufacturing in the U.S. and boost the economy. Among consumers, the reaction has been mixed. Some users on a Reddit discussion board hailed the surcharge tactic as an upfront way to show the cost of tariffs to companies and consumers. That way, there's no doubt what is going on. Hopefully, people will wake up. That was a quote from one of the commenters. Others wondered whether explicitly trying to tying the cost to Trump's trade policy would alienate customers who support the president.
Companies are still weighing their options. Some are opting for direct communications with their customers, and others are putting marquees on their websites. Like Scott mentioned, CEO of LittleMachineShop.com in Pasadena, California, is still weighing his tariff pricing options, including adding a specific surcharge to orders. And in 2018, when the first Trump administration imposed Chinese import tariffs of 25%, he ran a banner for months on the company's homepage explaining why and how it was raising some prices.
You know, back in 2018, I purchased a new wood lathe, and then the tariffs hit after I'd already placed the order. The company called me and asked me if I wanted to cancel it. Ultimately, I kept the order, and it cost me a couple of extra $100, but I wanted the product. So, I mean, it is what it is.
All right, scam alert for the week. Here we go. Stark warnings as thieves target USPS master keys. Just one key, and then you have access to hundreds of thousands of envelopes. Sherry, you were telling me about this one this week. This
right.
one's scary right here. It's a crime playing out in front of homes. You may not realize you're the target until it's too late. Thieves aren't just stealing checks from mailboxes. They're also targeting a single item to cash in big, a USPS, quote, arrow key. Mail theft is a situation that has garnered headlines across the country in recent years, particularly as criminals are now targeting the very people delivering the mail, sometimes at gunpoint, to gain access to mail and master keys. The situation has escalated to the point where federal authorities launched Project Safe Delivery, a national initiative by the U.S. Postal Inspection Service to combat postal crimes amid an 845% increase in mail carrier robberies between the fiscal years 2019 and 2023.
It's amazing. No one's gotten killed so far.
It is. 8 times the crime in that 4 or 5 year span. Incident reports and police body cam footage obtained by 11 Alive News reveal how the pattern is playing out in metro Atlanta. From Kennesaw to Smyrna, Decatur to Atlanta, criminals targeting postal workers and facilities to get their hands on arrow keys. These keys unlock not just individual mailboxes, but traditionally collection boxes, package lockers, and even entire clusters of community mail receptacles.
So our daughter lives in Colorado, and her entire subdivision uses one of these collection boxes and package lockers. The fact that they can open the entire box is a disaster. I talked with the man who delivers our mail about this, and he told me they have been told to just stand down if someone wants that key or wants to steal everything out of his vehicle.
Right.
They said just let them take whatever they want because it's not worth you getting shot.
Not worth their life. Yeah, in one police video, a postal worker described a robbery like this. He had a gun right there. Give me the keys, she said. She said. I cut off the truck and handed him the keys, thinking they wanted those. They said, no, I don't want those. I just want the keys to the mailbox. Cybersecurity experts and criminology professor David Maman of Georgia State University has been tracking check fraud tied to theft for years. His team monitors such commodities sold on the dark web and tells 11 Alive News the arrow keys give criminals unprecedented access. He says when they first started working on the issues of check fraud, they tried to figure out where these criminals were getting the keys from, and then they realized quite quickly that they were robbing the mail carriers for the arrow keys. You just have to have one of those keys, and you have access to hundreds of thousands of envelopes.
So how did the postal system not know this was happening? Once mail is stolen, checks can be washed, meaning altered or cooked, manufactured into multiple checks, and then sold on the dark web. Maimon says his team has seen a surge in stolen checks for sale online in recent years. Increasingly, he's observed arrow keys themselves are being offered, though given the amount of keys on the black market, have reduced prices because the criminals have figured out how to make them. These are the master keys that get into the giant boxes. They are making them, not just stealing them. So in January, the USPS and Postal Inspection Service doubled down, saying the fight against mail theft and violent crimes against postal employees is of the highest priority. In a press release, The agency touted a 27% drop in attacks on mail carriers and more than 2,400 arrests since Project Safe Delivery launched. Yet, despite federal efforts to combat mail theft, including enhanced security measures like high-security collection boxes and electronic locks, data reviewed by 11 Alive sparks more questions. According to the USPIS, the U.S. Postal Inspection System data, the number of arrow key thefts continue to increase, rising 27% in 2024, with more than 3,437 keys reported stolen nationwide, including more than 200 in Georgia. The data, which was obtained via Freedom of Information requests, showed the majority of stolen keys are never recovered. I mean, how would they?
The Postal Inspection Service did not respond to Atlanta 11 Alive News program's questions about the rise in stolen keys or requests for an interview. They also declined to give specifics about what security upgrades have been made in the Atlanta area, only sharing that more secure boxes and locks are being deployed in all 50 states. One statement they have provided, though, is that criminals continue to evolve faster than the system meant to stop them. So how can you protect your mail? 1, subscribe for free to Informed Delivery to digitally track incoming mail. My wife does this. I'm a fan of that. 2, mail checks from inside a post office, not from outside collection boxes. Number 3, remember that the red flag on your mailbox indicating an outgoing letter is an invitation for a mail thief. I think we jokingly said it's literally a red flag.
It is.
Right.
Literally.
This happened to my mom out in Thomaston. She put a check to New York Life in the mailbox, put the flag up. It was gone in an hour.
Jeez. Man, that means somebody's watching.
Just
Like
driving
somebody's
down the
sitting there
street.
They're trolling around.
They're trolling.
Number 4, retrieve mail promptly every day. Number 5, report any suspicious activity or theft immediately. Maman also offers a stark warning. Avoid mailing checks altogether. He says the information printed on checks can be used for identity theft if it falls into the wrong hands. In addition to freezing your credit, he recommends using a service like Chex Systems, that's CHEX Systems, which can provide a free annual disclosure report on the banking and checking accounts which have been opened in a customer's name.
And if you have aging parents who don't use the internet, offer to set them up on online bill pay and monitor their accounts for them, because this is an absolute disaster. The last thing you need is to have a chunk of money out the window that you thought was going to pay a bill and you're just off. I mean, it's just a horrible thing to go through. So please talk to your family next time you're all together and make sure that everybody is online bill pay only. No checks should be going into any mailbox. I talked to a client about it yesterday, and they said the only time they put a check in the mailbox is to pay their taxes, which, I mean, everybody pays their taxes about the same time of year. So that's probably when the theft is going to be the highest,
Rampant. Yeah.
because everybody knows when you have to put that check in the mail.
And we were talking to somebody, I think it was just 2 days ago, about this same subject, and they say that they have a special checking account set up. So when they do write a check, they transfer money from their normal savings account to this checking account just to cover that specific check.
But why mail a check?
There's some people that they just have to mail a check to.
We take our check right
Like-
to the.
Like New York Life only takes a check.
That's stupid. Anyways, now on to the next subject. Apartment developers who overbuilt luck out with tariffs. Multifamily owners are slogging through a historic glut of new supply. The biggest wave of apartment construction in 40 years has pressured rent prices, forcing landlords to offer months of free rent and other incentives to fill their units. Now, with the cost of imported materials poising to soar and construction labor getting harder to find, this crush of overbuilding suddenly looks like a lucky break for the multifamily industry. It's not like they necessarily knew what they were doing. They have lucked out. With tariffs, rising economy uncertainty, and stubbornly high mortgage rates that are threatening the broader housing market, it is likely to keep many people renting longer, which will further strengthen the demand for apartments and single-family rentals. Rent growth has already primed for a rebound. The new construction pipeline delivered more than 1.1 million units in 2023 and 24, and the most since the mid-'80s.
A lot less new apartment construction is underway after that 2-year crush of supply, which was launched when borrowing costs and material prices were lower. So additional building costs related to tariffs will have a lighter impact. Landlords say the new supply should be mostly drained by year-end, setting the stage for rents to rise nationwide. Not all companies in the residential business are this fortunate. Home builders are still constructing new houses and are trying to fortify themselves from higher costs. They were building up materials like lumber, windows, cabinetry, and steel to stockpile them before the tariffs hit. While some of these materials coming from Mexico and Canada have received tariff exemptions, more than a quarter of U.S. imports used in residential construction come from, you guessed it, from China, according to the National Association of Home Builders.
Trump would exempt those items from the tariffs just like he did for the iPhone.
Yep.
He could.
He could. And the other limiting factor will be the lower pool of labor. This is an opportunity for U.S. workers to get in on a building trade. But if fewer developers can get shovels in the ground due to tariffs, we'll see bigger spikes in rents and it'll be more prolonged.
Yeah, but for now, home prices and limited for sale inventory means many renters have little choice but to renew leases and pay up. Many would-be buyers have been waiting for the prohibitively expensive mortgage rates to come down, but even though the market tumult of the last week, rates are stuck hovering over 6.5%. The cost of buying a home is still expected to be roughly a third more expensive than renting by the end of the year, according to a December estimate from the real estate firm CBRE. And the recent plunge of consumer sentiment indicates that prospective buyers may further hesitate to spring in for a major purchase like a home.
I wonder if this will encourage more people to live out of a camper or a trailer. Maybe we'll see trailer parks come back into popularity. You could even design them for young families with a little park and a place to do your laundry. I mean, if people can't afford a full house, maybe there's another option out there.
I think the campers, I haven't seen a pullback on the camper lots lately. I mean,
I haven't either.
So
interesting.
Tiny homes.
So, client story, auto pill dispenser. This has nothing to do with your money. So sorry about that, but I really want you to know about this. I've been telling clients about it that have aging
But it kind of
parents.
deals with your health too. So it kind of goes
There
to
you go.
your
Indirectly,
money.
yeah.
Indirectly.
So I recently met with a client, and her mother lives in her home and is independent. The problem they were having is the daughter would lay out her mom's pills for the week with a note next to them. Take this with breakfast, take this with lunch, take this with dinner. She would stop by to visit her mom, and her mom would confess she couldn't remember to look at the note and didn't know if she took all of her pills or not. Well, they were in the bottles, so she couldn't tell. They weren't like laid out on the counter. Well, she went online and found automatic pill dispensers on Amazon. She places her mom's pills by time of day for a week in the dispenser. The dispenser makes a noise and drops the pill out into a dish at the exact time the pill should be taken. And if her mom doesn't get the pill out of the dispenser within a certain number of minutes, a sort of alarm goes off to get her attention. She told me this device has been life-changing, less stress for her and her mom. So I just wanted to share it. So there's all sorts of versions of this on Amazon, and they can contain a lot of pills.
Oh, so there's no, I mean, you've looked into how many pills it will take in a
Oh,
bunch?
it's huge.
Really?
Because some people take a pill when they get up, they take a pill after breakfast, they take a pill with lunch, they take a pill at night. I mean, they have all these, so it just depends on how frequently you have to take a pill and what kind of pill you are. You can buy all sorts of versions of this. There's hundreds of options on Amazon. I was blown
I
up.
like this.
I didn't even know this was a thing. But talk about something positive. Even if they're in assisted living, I mean, I don't know if they have to be responsible for taking their pills or if the facility makes sure they take their pills.
But for someone at home, this is a great idea.
They're living
For sure.
independently. It is a fantastic idea. She said it has taken so much stress off of her because her mom is doing what she needs to be doing without her having to nag her.
I like it.
That's great. Harvard and the view from Hillsdale. As Donald Trump trains his guns on Harvard, the president of a small non-denominational Christian college in southern Michigan is licking his lips in anticipation of a battle royale that could redefine American higher education. Larry Arnn, 72, has been president of Hillsdale College since May of 2000. The way his own little college is run is now, quote, hot news. Mr. Trump's war on Harvard is largely about federal money, and Mr. Arnn's Hillsdale doesn't take a single cent of it, according to him. Nobody gives us any money unless they want to. This means Hillsdale, founded by Free Will Baptists in 1844, isn't bound by government mandates tying to funding, such as Title IX. Harvard, he says, was exclusively funded by private sector for what is it? It's got to be 250 years. Harvard was founded in 1636, so a little bit longer than 250 years. And now, in this progressive era, if my calculations are right, they get $90,000 per student a year from the federal government. He recommends that Harvard, which receives about $9 billion a year from Washington, emulate Hillsdale and get off the government dole.
Right. Mr. Trump has acted to withhold federal funds from a raft of elite universities. Federal funds totaling $5.34 billion is paid to Harvard, Cornell, Northwestern, Brown, Columbia, Princeton, and the University of Pennsylvania. And the lion's share of those funds are being paid to Harvard and Cornell. The essence of Mr. Trump's complaint is the abject failure of these institutions to deal with absenteeism, anti-Semitism, on campus. But the president has also demanded a broader crackdown on DEI compulsion and the expansion of viewpoint diversity among the predominantly progressive faculty. As the targeted universities consider their response, Harvard said this week that it intends to fight. A rumbling has arisen in conservative circles for the Hillsdale model. Hillsdale itself hasn't been shy in this regard. Harvard tweeted these words by its president, Alan Garber, on Monday. No government, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate on what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and what areas of study and inquiry they can pursue. Hillsdale responded with a taunt. There's another way. Refuse taxpayer money.
The college took a kick at Barack Obama after the former president lauded Harvard for rejecting an unlawful and ham-handed attempt to stifle academic freedom. Hillsdale's response: President Obama, we have thoughts on the next step Harvard could take in order to strengthen this position. It has to do with federal funding. Mr. Arnn laughs when he asked about Hillsdale trolling of Harvard. It's long past time, he says, for American universities to rethink their approach to money. To have a liberal society, you have to have important things going on outside the government's grip. The federal government has an outsized influence in the education system now, and they didn't have that until about the 1960s. America would be a better place if the sources of support for education were decentralized, Mr. Arnn says. Schools like Harvard get a lot of money from the taxpayer, and they don't like what Trump is doing to them. Harvard is claiming to have a constitutional right both to the money and to do whatever they want, but there are rules that go along with taking federal money.
Yeah, this is the problem. They receive grants from the federal government, and then they begin to see them as entitlements. I saw this in the military when it came to civilian pay bonuses. You have to be very careful about continuing to give something on a regular basis, because if you ever have to stop giving it, there will be a backlash. If you don't believe that, Harvard has, and I don't believe that Harvard has any constitutional right to taxpayer dollars unless they're earning it in some manner. And if that is the case, show us the contracts.
Right.
These rules are obscure and demanding. Some of them are set out in the Higher Education Act of 1965, which is probably a little dated, Title IV, which governs student loans and other financial aid. Comprises several hundred pages of nearly unreadable rules. Title VI of the 1964 Civil Rights Act bans racial discrimination by institutions that take federal funds. Hillsdale doesn't discriminate and might lose its tax exemption if it did, but refusing federal money frees it from bureaucratic burdens such as counting its students by race and reporting the results to Washington. What's happening right now is classic Trump, according to Mr. Arnn. He's negotiating, and I don't know any better than anybody else what he intends, except he does appear to intend that Harvard is going to reform itself in some big ways. It is his way to ask for more than he is likely to get in the beginning. He seems to do that all the time.
Yeah, these anti-Israel demonstrations were ugly, and I personally watched several interviews with students who were demonstrating, and they didn't seem to know very much about the history of the Middle East. So I wonder who's fanning the flames on campus, because if the students cannot articulate the purpose of their cause, they should just get back to class.
I agree. It's ridiculous. So are we
You've
at
been
the-
listening to Your Money, produced by Lifespan Wealth Management with your hosts, Sherry Goss, Randy Goss, and me, Jonathan Eisner. If you'd like to contribute to the show, you can email Randy at rfmoney.com with a question or topic that you'd like us to cover in a future broadcast. Our number is 478-922-8100. We have offices in Macon and Warner Robins for your convenience.
And you can find out more about us by visiting our website, retirerelax.com. Lifespan Wealth Management has been serving the Middle Georgia area for over 30 years, helping people like you achieve their investment and retirement goals. And if you're in need of a financial advisor, please contact our office at 478-922-8100.
We also offer seminars to the community at no cost. So if you are in need of a guest speaker for your church or civic organization, give us a call and together we can decide what topics you would like us to present to your group.
Again, our contact number is 478-922-8100. Now back to the show.
So I've been waiting for this one, and this is a very good thing. Employers, including Blackstone, Walmart, and Microsoft, are increasing their focus on skills over college degrees. With rising costs, student protests, and looming budget cuts, sentiment on the power of a college degree continues to sour. Now, top employers, while not abandoning the need for top college grads, are leaning into specific skills instead of degrees to find the right talent. The Skills First Workforce Initiative, led by Philadelphia based nonprofit Burning Glass Institute, with $500,000 in backing from Walmart, is launching a career website outlining the skills needed for some of the most in demand jobs in the market. The Skills First website details skills needed for 9 job titles, such as retail salesperson, first line supervisors of retail sales workers, sales managers, customer service representatives, customer service managers, financial analysts, product managers, and software developers. And these roles account for over 11 million workers, according to Burning Glass. Joining the nonprofit in this new initiative are 10 of America's largest employers, including Accenture, Bank of America, Blackstone, Home Depot, Johnson & Johnson, Microsoft, Nordstrom, PepsiCo, Walmart, and Verizon.
Yeah, this is non-competitive in nature. Each of these companies have their own hiring objectives and their own behavioral expectations that layer together with skills. For example, 2 candidates with the same skills may be better fits for different companies. The companies in the coalition are not in direct competition, and they cover a range of industries from finance to retail, and pharmaceuticals. The website lists 4 different groups of skills: baseline, leadership, role specific skills, and specializations required for each position, assigning a percentage of importance and proficiency for each skill. Take a breakdown for a project manager. Baseline skills include knowing the 4 P's of marketing, which is product, price, place, and promotion, and experience leading complex sales negotiations. But the most important and in-demand skills come in the role-specific competencies like using market research to accurately predict the life cycle of a product. Each is assigned a level of mastery and how important on average the skill is to the employers. Burning Glass says this is determined by their proprietary model, which pulls data from a database of tens of millions of job postings and analyzes how each job is described and pulls out common skills and inputs from the 11 employers in the coalition.
Yep. The site also offers information on job-specific specializations like computer science or user experience. A software engineer, for example, needs to be able to write, troubleshoot, and debug code while documenting changes. But perhaps the most helpful information for job seekers is a skills wage premium, which reflects how much employers are willing to pay a premium for. For example, companies are willing to pay a 5% wage premium to product managers with certain IT experience, a 3.9% wage increase to software engineers who know certain programs, and an 8.3% bump to those working in an open source platform. Such specific language can be especially useful for non-traditional hires like veterans who struggle to translate their experience in the armed forces to corporate America. It's how employers can not only hire the right people, but deepen their talent pool as well.
Yeah, so far this sounds really good for employees.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I like it a lot.
The launch of the website comes at a complex time in the labor market. The U.S. economy added about 228,000 jobs in March, more than forecasted, but unemployment increased slightly in the same month, and DOGE-led cuts in the federal government will have ripple effects throughout the private sectors. Add in fears of a looming recession and incoming tariffs on nearly all imports, and many businesses have paused their hiring and are reconsidering their 2025 plans. It's left employees increasingly feeling stuck, unmotivated, and unproductive.
Walmart's HR department says there's a lot of reasons why the workforce may be disillusioned right now. Walmart says this program helps provide some hope and focus in our people to optimize their success. A standard skills language becomes a way for employers to educate, motivate, and be transparent with their workforces about what it takes to continue to grow. The unified language skills makes working on a desired promotion that much easier. The path from customer service representative to manager, for example, includes gaining leadership skills, coaching experience, and account management experience. But the power comes in being able to use that language defining skills and transferring it from one employer to the next. A unified language for skills becomes a currency that employees can use to apply for that new job internally or externally.
Employers joining the initiative had already seen an impact on their own hiring practices and employee satisfaction. Verizon, which says 99% of their roles do not require degrees and streamlined its repository of 70,000 job titles down to 2,100 different roles when first implementing its skills first approach in 2021. The company boasts an average tenure of 13.1 years, which is 70% more than the national average of 3.9 years, which it credits to its career growth opportunities. That's pretty cool.
That is amazing. I would have never thought that people would love those jobs and that they get paid that much enough to stay there that long. That
Right.
just
Right.
blows my mind.
Skills First gave Verizon employees the transparency needed to see the path towards a promotion across different roles. A Verizon spokesperson said that when you start thinking about where your skills match into other roles, it opens a window of visibility into a whole new world of job opportunities. It's a similar case at Walmart, which prides itself on the fact that 75% of its store managers, who have a base salary of $130,000, can occasionally earn more than $500,000 a year starting in hourly positions. Skills training has raised customer and store cleanliness satisfaction scores in the top third of stores participating in training, and frontline workers are now promoted to a new role within an average of 7 months.
Talent scarcity across the economy is requiring companies to rethink and rewire their hiring processes, according to the Blackstone Global Head of Portfolio Talent. They will be implementing a skills first approach across its over 250 portfolio companies. Such practices are not just a way to increase retention, but also to anticipate future skill needs. There are skills that are growing in popularity now that will decline, and there are skills that will hit the radar that aren't on the radar now. The nonprofit says it will continuously update the skills needed for each job using AI to keep track of requirement changes in job postings across its database.
Right. And Burning Glass is already planning to expand the library of jobs and accompanying skill sets in the coming months. In its second phase, the website will host career pathways for 30 job titles, including wholesale sales representatives, security guards, shipping and inventory clerks, and even human resource specialists. Ultimately, it's all about unifying skills that employees already had and employers sought out. Many have been describing in different ways. For one, I'm glad to see this. Why should their skills not be the currency for growth that they already for growth they have ahead? Excuse me. In many cases, like military members, they have spent decades learning skills in management, leadership, on top of the job specific skills that they don't necessarily translate into degrees. But this applies to more than just veterans. This concept is truly a game changer for a lot of people who probably undervalued their skills.
So
pretty cool.
I meant to look up this article, but it was out years ago that the woman who is like vice president of human resources for the entire Walmart corporation, she started out as a sales clerk.
That's right.
She went from that to where she is.
Yep.
People don't realize. You think a Walmart job, oh, that's a loser job. Well, it's the beginning. People do. People judge. And they think, you're working a checkout counter at Kroger, that's a loser job. But you're on your path to something bigger if you're willing to work toward it. And this Walmart is just a great example.
It is.
All right, switching gears, accountability is returning to student loans. According to a 2023 ruling by the Supreme Court, President Biden never had the authority to forgive student loans across the board. But for political gain, he dangled the carrot of loan forgiveness in front of young voters, among other things by keeping in place a temporary COVID-era deferment program. Thus, the Education Department allowed students to rack up massive debt that is now long past due. Between 2021 and 2024, federal student loan debt increased by more than $60 billion each year, while the department manipulated repayment plans and forgiveness policies until only 38% of student loan portfolio was in repayment. This is unsustainable for both students and taxpayers. The Trump administration announced that they are ending this dishonest and irresponsible policy and will conform to the department's repayment options to federal court decisions and end the Biden-era practice of zero interest, zero accountability forbearances that are pushing borrowers into loan delinquency and default.
Yep. Beginning May 5th, they will begin the process of moving roughly 1.8 million borrowers into repayment plans and restart collections of loans in default. Borrowers who don't make the payments on time will see their credit scores go down, and in some cases, their wages automatically garnished. Why? Not because they want to be unkind to student borrowers. Borrowing money and failing to pay it back isn't a victimless crime or offense. Debt doesn't go away. It gets transferred to others. If borrowers don't pay their debts to the government, taxpayers do.
Student loans must always be paid back because they are unlike other types of consumer loans. If a borrower stops paying a mortgage or a car payment, he'll go into foreclosure or find his car repossessed. Student loans have no collateral. It is impossible to repossess a college degree. That's why they're very rarely discharged, even in bankruptcy. That's the hard truth for borrowers. But there is another hard truth for the institutions that made empty promises to students while pocketing their loan dollars. Colleges and universities call themselves nonprofits, but for years they have profited massively off the federal subsidy of loans, hiking tuition and piling up multi-billion-dollar endowments while students graduate 6 figures in the red. A widely cited 2015 study found that for every dollar of increased federal caps on subsidized loans, colleges raised tuition by 60 cents. Many of the degree granting programs that qualify for student loans are worthless on the job market. The colleges continue to accept students to these programs and encourage them to borrow to pay for them. Accountability is a two-way street. As we push to hold student loan borrowers to account, we will also push colleges to be responsible and transparent. So I worked hard in college and I got a lousy degree. I trusted my advisor and he was a total liar, telling all of us what great jobs we were going to get when we graduated. Of the 35 people that got the same degree I did, I am the only one who got a job because of that degree.
Right.
What a joke.
What was that degree?
Recreational therapy.
Yes.
Recreational therapy. Okay. Got it.
So I got into it. I did an internship where this is what really got me hooked on it, where I'd go to the swimming pool once a week and we had majorly handicapped young people and we would work with them in the pool and it would help their mobility. And so I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help people. But the degree, I ended up in mental health because of that degree. That's the only job I could get. I couldn't help people in that. I mean, it was like, we're talking about places that were doing lobotomies on people. I mean, literally, back in the day, that's where I worked.
Man. April is a pivotal time in the college admissions process. After years of preparation, saving, and investing, not to mention the countless hours spent on exam prep, campus visits, and perfecting applications and essays, the finish line is in sight. For families with college-bound students, whether this year or in the near future or further down the road, the financial realities of higher education require thoughtful consideration. The college admissions process is not just about acceptance letters, it's about making financial decisions that align with short-term affordability and long-term financial well-being. The rising cost of tuition is only part of the equation. Expenses like room and board, travel, books, extracurricular activities, that can add $10,000 to $20,000 a year, according to the 2024 study by the College Board.
Aren't you excited about this?
Extremely, as if things aren't expensive enough as it is. Hopefully Gabriel just gets a full ride and all I got to pay for is his, room.
only
Or by then they just can do it from like in high school or something. I don't know.
True. Even for those who can afford to, or who can comfortably pay for tuition, the real financial picture goes beyond the sticker price. Questions naturally arise, such as should students contribute financially to their education? Does borrowing make sense? And if so, what loan structures are offered? Can financial aid packages be appealed for additional assistance? How do daily college expenses fit into the broader financial strategy? As financial professionals, we've worked with families navigating many of these critical decisions. For those with a child starting college soon, the reality of writing that first tuition check is quickly approaching. For those looking ahead, understanding how to strategically approach financial aid, student loans, and overall affordability can help you when the time comes.
While school prestige often plays a major role in the decision-making process, weighing it against financial impact is essential. The goal isn't just to afford college today, it's that education costs fit with other long-term financial priorities. Now is the time for honest conversations about balancing aspirations with affordability. If you filed the free application for Federal Student Loan Aid, FAFSA, the colleges you listed will receive your information electronically and use it to calculate your financial aid eligibility. Understanding how to decode and evaluate these letters can help you make a well-informed decision. Here's what to look for and what to do if additional financial assistance is needed. First is decoding the award letters. Each school that accepts your child should send a financial aid award letter, also known as a student aid package or school offer. It tells you what financial aid your child can expect from a specific college or university. The letter will include the annual total cost of attendance and a list of financial aid options. Your financial aid package might include gift aid that doesn't require repayment in other loans, which must be repaid with interest after your child graduates or leaves school. And my thing to add to this is whatever the terms are, make sure you understand what the payback is
That's
and
right.
what the interest rate is. Make sure that you look at this very closely and ensure that it is absolutely the right thing for you to do, because I've seen some big mistakes in this area.
That's right. While each award letter will differ, the U.S. Department of Education created the College Financial Plan to encourage schools to make their award letters more streamlined and easy to compare. Most award letters have several elements in common. The headings pretty much describe what each is about and normally cover the following topics, which are the expected family contribution, cost of attendance, scholarship and grant options, net cost, and loan and work options. Understanding the award letter, including your ability to challenge the institution on how much has been awarded, can help start this part of the college process off on the right foot.
And if you are considering borrowing to meet college expenses or having your child share in some of the costs of the higher education, there are two main types of student loans, federal and private, and this is important to understand. Federal student loans do not require a minimum credit score and come in two types for undergrads: direct subsidized loans and direct unsubsidized loans. Direct subsidized loans are available to undergrad students who have demonstrated financial need. These loans do not accrue interest while the borrower is in school during the 6-month grace period or through any deferment period afterward. After filling out the FAFSA form, students will receive a financial aid offer letter. Number 2, direct unsubsidized loans. These are available to undergraduate, graduate, and professional students. Borrowers do not need to demonstrate financial need, but these loans accrue interest immediately. This means you'll be accruing interest during school, after graduation, and during periods of deferment and forbearance.
Disaster.
Yeah. Number 3, direct plus loans are available to graduate or professional students or parents of dependent undergraduate students to help pay for education expenses. Direct plus loans carry higher interest rates and higher loan origination fees than direct subsidized or direct unsubsidized loans.
And unlike other federal student loans, the Parent Plus loans are taken out by the parents directly. While your child can make payments, if you take out this loan, you will be legally and financially responsible for repaying the full balance. The loan will appear on your credit report, not your child's. Private student loans could be an option for borrowers who need more than what the federal student loan offers. Private student loans, microphone here. Private student loans have fixed or variable interest rates. Qualified borrowers may be able to qualify for lower interest rates and benefit from various repayment terms, incentives, and consolidation options, depending on the current rate environment. If a loan is part of your college financing strategy, review the differences to determine which options best suit your financial situations.
And just as a side note, I met with a family about a month ago, and the parents took on $60,000 worth of student loans. Their son took on $50,000. The parents' loan interest rate was 14.65% on $60,000. I mean, that is a total disaster.
It is.
Be careful with all of this. Please understand what you're getting into and make sure that the degree that they're getting is actually going to enable them to repay this loan. So please remember that college expenses is not just about tuition. While tuition and room and board are the biggest college expenses, other costs must be accounted for. These hidden costs can add up and may not be covered by aid packages. Some look to their children to pay some of these expenses so they have skin in the game, especially for optional activities. I totally agree with that. There are many ways to bring up additional costs while attending college, and estimates show that you could spend between $15,000 to $30,000 additional dollars on ancillary costs. Some areas that add to the bill are books and course materials, transportation expenses, college activities, study abroad programs, preparations for the fall, which I don't know what that means, student bank account, not to mention the off-campus meals. So our daughter went to Georgia Southern, and we were required to pay $10 a day for food for her. And if she didn't use that credit for food in a day, it would disappear. They would get that money back. We told her, do not ever not spend that $10. I mean, what a horrible rule.
Yeah.
That
It
was
is.
ridiculous. I mean, I don't care
It
if you go buy a
funded their
banana.
dining hall is what it did.
Well, it's just idiotic
Yep.
to make someone be on the whatever for $10 a day of spending. Let them spend their own money. Don't make them go through you. And sorry, I'm rambling.
Setting up a student bank account is a big step towards financial independence. A bank account can help a college student manage money, monitor the cash flow, and build a good financial habit. Some bank accounts for college students don't charge monthly fees or require direct deposit. They also have forgiving overdraft policies. And a good mobile banking app is important too. You may also want to talk to your child about sticking to realistic budgets.
Yep.
It may be a good idea for college students to have a credit card. That's interesting. Even if it is just for emergencies, your child can either be an authorized user on your card or get a student credit card. If you're not sure if your child is ready to handle the responsibilities of a credit card, I don't think mine is. A good starting point is to allow them to use a debit card as a primary payment method. According to a survey by Sally Mae, 85% of college students had debit cards. Debit or credit cards are needed for everything from rideshare apps to food delivery that you can finance.
And
Right.
and I think you need to define emergencies.
Yes.
Totally.
Pizza is not an emergency.
Correct.
A dress is not an emergency.
Right.
Right. Almost anything that you think is an emergency probably isn't an
Right.
emergency. Gabriel, my son. And splitting the bill at a restaurant would require a card. Student credit cards often accept students with limited or no credit history. Student credit cards may have lower credit and are designed to help manage spending, and some don't have annual fees. Many financial institutions issue student credit cards designed to help students get started with credit. They may have credit building tools like free credit scores and credit report access. Some offer cash back and travel rewards.
So when our daughter was at Georgia Southern, I got to add one more thing. All the friends that she went out with and partied with and did all her stuff with, they had their parents' credit cards, and they would charge anything they wanted: drinks, food, eating out.
We were not that
Clothing.
liberal.
We had her on a budget, and we made her have a budget senior year of high school to prepare her for this, because you're not going to be able to just go spend a bunch of money. But all of her friends had the credit card, and the parents would just pay it off every month. So there was no accountability. There was no budget. There was no nothing. It was just like a free for all. Anyways, I just don't do that. Don't let your kids be that.
She
They're not-
probably thought you guys were bad parents because you didn't allow her to do that.
She told us that.
At one point, she had 5 part-time jobs so she could keep up with her friends.
Jeez.
Yeah. So anyways, onward. You should consider having an ongoing conversation with your child about responsible credit card use before they get it and even after they start using it. Insurance. Before moving your child into the dorm, check if they need renter's insurance. The school may require supplemental insurance if your homeowner's policy does not cover them. Some schools offer renter's insurance for an extra fee. Many colleges require that your student have health insurance coverage. If your child is on your health policy, you'll have to submit a waiver so the student is not automatically enrolled in the school plan, and you'll incur an additional charge for that as well.
Yeah, and a power of attorney. A power of attorney can be a crucial backstop for college students navigating their newfound independence. Since 18 is considered the age of majority in most states, a POA can provide a legal mechanism for you to step in and manage essential matters if needed. This arrangement is especially beneficial if your child is studying from afar, where immediate action may be necessary in an emergency. Consult your attorney for more details, but a POA can help with financial protections, medical decisions, and access to academic records even.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, good point. And having the correct type of POA in place may ease anxiety for both you and your child. Knowing you have the required documentation to help address unexpected circumstances is a step toward independence without immediately jumping into the deep end.
If you put your money into a 529 plan to pay for your child's education, you should consider using those assets to pay for qualified expenses such as tuition, fees, books, supplies and equipment, computers, and room and board. Just follow the guidance on the plan's website. If you're considering setting up a 529 plan for your child or grandchild, go to path2college.com. You do not need to pay anyone to set this program up for you. It is very simple to create and fund the account.
I could be wrong. I think it's path2college.org. I think.
Mm.
But anyway, it's one of those two. Randy, do we have 30 seconds?
You have right at 30 seconds.
Okay, so just a quick study shows that the average tuition costs at 4-year public, in-state, and private nonprofit schools are $9,377 and $37,641, respectively. On the other hand, the amount can climb to as high as $60,000 at Ivy League institutions. So, and I see here that one is as high as $83,000. Harvard's probably more than any of those.
And those are the average.
Right.
So thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Your Money, produced by Lifespan Wealth Management. As financial advisors, the main thing we do is provide retirement planning advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. If you're looking for an investment advisor, call our office at 478-922-8100 to set up your complimentary consultation. You can learn more about our services by visiting our website at retirerelax.com.
And if you'd like to contribute to the show, you can email me, randy@rfmoney.com, with a question or a topic that you would like for us to cover in a future broadcast. And we look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.